Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Limitless Landscapers podcast. I'm Paula, and as always, I am your host. And today I'm talking about letting it all go, a bit like the song in Frozen, but yeah, the art of letting it all go and some things that have been happening recently. So let's go to the show. As the founder of the Landscapers Circle and the Limitless Landscapers podcast, I am here to help you get more money, time, and freedom to make your life and business truly limitless. Through my experiences as the owner of a garden design and landscaping business, and through tried and tested methods, if you want help with the marketing, managing, and growing of your business, then you are in the right place. If you are a landscaper, garden designer, horticultural business, or a supplier to the industry, be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show. It's been an interesting few weeks for me here at Aura Landscapes HQ and TLC HQ. Quite a lot of changes have happened, and it's led me to think about how letting it all go can actually be the key to bigger and better business, more success, and standing in your truth, speaking your truth, and essentially living the life you've always dreamed of. So you might be thinking, what the hell are you going on about? But essentially, over the last, I would say, month, I have lost, let me think, 4 members of staff, 1 from TLC and 3 from Aura Landscapes. And usually when this happens, as a landscaping business owner, you might be able to relate to this. You can sometimes think, oh shit, everything's going wrong and people are leaving. And what am I going to do? Am I going to fill these spaces? Am I not? Etc. etc. Now, my staff, a couple of them left because I wanted them to, and a couple left of their own free will that they wanted to leave. So it's kind of, there was two areas really, and each came with different problems, obstacles, and issues that we faced as a business. Now, my business, Aura Landscapes, has been running nearly 13 years now. So as I often refer to it as my firstborn child, because myself and Mike have built this business into what it is today. We've gone through many ups and downs, which if you check out, I think the very first podcast episode, I go through it. And also if you attended Virtually Limitless last year, I go through a couple of struggles that we had as a business quite recently. And essentially it's a love-hate relationship. It can become very annoying. And recently I've begun to despise the business, but mainly because it relies so heavily on staffing and having the right members of staff that not only have the right skill set, but the right attitude, that fit well with the team and can deliver to the projects that you want them to do on time, to budget. If you are listening to this and you're a landscape business owner, you get me. I know you do, because we all struggle with the same things. And essentially, by losing these various members of staff, now on TLC, I've lost Mia, and actually I'm okay with that, because it's now, I think everything happens for a reason. I actually feel like I've manifested all of this myself in what I've been thinking and wanting for a long time now. And essentially it's allowing me to go in my own direction and allowing me to work on things that I truly want to, that I feel is my higher purpose and is my true reason for doing TLC. So actually everything is good. It's just the turbulence that happens when people do leave, because you then have quite a lot of pressure. So for me, everything now falls on me. I'm now calling myself the Lone Ranger of TLC. It's me on my own. I do have friends in the background, namely Charlotte, who are helping, and I'm working on things in collaboration with, as you know, Kate Charles, which is great. So I'm not actually alone, but essentially it is just me now, heading up TLC, driving it forward to become what I want it to be, a full support place for people who run their own landscaping and garden design businesses, who want to work with someone in the industry who gets you, knows you, and wants to support you either growing, niching, developing, or even starting a business, which is why I've recently set up the From the Ground Up course with Kate. But there is a lot of pressure. And of course, there's a lot of pressure on Mike in our landscapes, because now we do not have a designer. He is now the designer and a landscaper. We've lost a couple of labourers. So that has been quite not hard to get new people in, but obviously it's a lot of work in landscaping. So there's been pressure on the teams and pressure on him to run and manage these teams, as well as bringing in more and more business. Now, the good news is business is still busy. We're still getting lots and lots of inquiries. We're still taking on design projects, and we're still booking in clients. So that is fantastic, but we've had to let go of some expectations. And that's another thing I want to talk about, letting go of the pressure, letting go of the expectations around it, because often we are expected to do certain things, and it's all about reaffirming your boundaries. Now, there is a podcast episode dedicated to that very important piece of work that you need to do on yourself, which is setting your boundaries. And sometimes we can expect too much. So expect too much of others, expect too much of ourselves, and therefore creating extra pressure around everything. Whereas if we set some boundaries and let go of what is not working for you, then you can move on in a much more less pressured, less stressful, more productive way. So for instance, in TLC, I never enjoyed doing Done For You. I never enjoyed that side of the business. It was something that Charlotte set up, and it's something that Mia took a lot of the workload on, but it's still something that I did not enjoy spending my time and focus and energy on. And I spoke about it in a recent podcast episode called What You Focus On Grows. And essentially what has happened is, by losing Mia, who's gone on to pastures new, is that I've basically got rid of every Done For You client. So now I'm not doing any Done For You, and I'm here solely to focus my energy, time and expertise on mentoring and supporting you guys, taking on the membership more, so working more fully on the membership. So I've got quite a lot of ideas in the pipeline of how that's going to develop over the next few weeks, because we will be opening shortly in a new format. I'm not sure exactly when yet, but because again, there's a lot of, if I give you a date, I'm putting a lot of expectation on myself and creating a lot of pressure, and I can't do that this time. I'm still in the midst of finding some freelancers to do some techie stuff in the background, but essentially letting go of what is not working for me and my energies and how I want to be moving forward has been the best thing. So sometimes you can feel like the whole world is stacked against you and things are happening all the time, but I'm a true believer that the universe sends you lessons, and you're meant to learn from those lessons. And you know, at one point I was just getting more and more inquiries for Done For You, and I felt like I had to say yes, when really in the back of my mind I'm saying no. I want to focus on my members. I want to focus on growing the membership and developing the membership into what I've always imagined it to be. And I couldn't understand it. I was like, why the hell? And I thought, no, the universe is testing me. It's testing me. Am I going to continue down this route in a place where I didn't enjoy? I certainly did not actively enjoy working in the business. It was I didn't enjoy managing staff either. Charlotte will happily tell you that I do not enjoy managing staff, or I don't mind in the landscaping side, but I don't like working with people in the office and TLC. It's not really me, and I really do not suffer fools lightly. So when people do silly things, I'm likely to fly off the handle. So sometimes working for me is not the best, and I think that's why now I'm on my own, and I'm good with that, because I've let go of everything that's not working. I've let go of staff that weren't working. And I've let go of the expectations around I have to do X, Y, and Z. I don't, at the end of the day. When we were setting up the course from the ground up, I set an expectation of I wanted it launched on this date and with this many people. And then I thought, I've just got to let it go, because so what if it doesn't happen? So what? And ultimately, it doesn't matter. We've encountered some technical problems. So the course material isn't up there on Monday like I wanted it to, but it'll be up there by the end of the week. And you know what? No one cared. Everyone was like, no, absolutely fine. We want you to get it right. And then the pressure was off. And so things get done. I've actually roped poor Charlotte, who will be editing this podcast, into doing some things for me urgently this week. But hopefully by next week, I'll have some other support in place. But I also want to say about letting staff go in your landscaping business, There was a number of staff I knew that weren't working for me for a while. You have inklings around this. I had a big discussion with Sam and Dulcie from Selby on this, so they'll understand what I'm talking about. But essentially, I didn't really want to face up to the fact that it wasn't working. And some of that is around the fear of failure, the fear of feeling like you've been a failure. You haven't done what you've set out to do, or what you've taken a risk on something and it hasn't worked out like you planned. Now that is a hard and bitter pill to swallow, and it can sometimes feel like failure, but actually I'm kind of feeling like, again, everything happens for a reason. The universe sets out to test you, to put you on your path of where you should be. And essentially, I knew a number of staff were not working for me in the landscaping side of things. And so the bullet was bit and things were set into motion. Now, looking on the other side, the first point is you're then terrified. One, that it's all gone wrong and you're making the wrong decisions. Then you start looking at things and you know you've made the right decision, and you come out of the other side of the turbulence, because there is a period of turbulence when you're going through change, of course. And actually the business is in a better place going forward. From those staff go in now, it is in a much better place. And actually it's forced us to realign and reaffirm our goals. And it's also forced us to look at our life. Like, what do we really want our life to look like? Do we want to be running a huge staff heavy landscaping business that is stressful, that means you can't spend time with our family and all we talk about is work together? Or do we want it more manageable, that could still be more highly profitable, but is less stress? You can still spend time with the family. And so we're now in the throes of setting it up slightly differently, setting up the processes to make it run more efficiently, more productively, and ultimately with less staff, which I know for most of you would love this. And I am embracing it fully, because I feel that the biggest headache in landscaping businesses is the fact that you have to have and you rely upon your staff. And the second fact is there is not enough skilled people out there that want to do this for a living. And also the labourers you get just haven't got the same enthusiasm like we did when we were young. I feel like it's a generational difference that does impact on their career choices, and they don't really give it their all. I remember being in my career and just focusing on getting to the next level, the next level, the next level. And I know not everyone is like that, and I wouldn't want everyone to be. It'd be a very boring world. But I don't feel like the work ethic is quite as there in some people. And essentially, you've got to make that decision and get rid. And for us, this has been a great, I've let go of I've let go of projects that don't work for me. I've let go of the types of service I provide that doesn't work for me. Let go of lots of staff that don't work well in my businesses. And I've let go of the fear of failure, because ultimately, who cares if you feel like a failure because you've gone smaller? If you're making more money and living a much better life, I think it's a win. It's not a failure at all. So my last thoughts on this podcast for you, and to reflect upon going forward in your businesses, is what do you actually want your life to look like? I've got a massive idea of what I want my life to look like, and I am utterly obsessed with getting to that point. Essentially, Mike has now realigned with me, and we've got a more linear approach, and we're also setting up the business in a different way so that we can live that life that we've always dreamed of, but without compromising on the lifestyle that we want and the income that we want from our business. So I would urge you guys, if you're thinking something's not right in your business, go with your gut, because I thought it for a few months, probably 6 months at least, with a number of these staff members, and also with a number of services I was offering that I didn't want to. I've thought that for a year at least, and I never had the courage to let it go and just say no and set those more important boundaries. And I didn't have the courage to think, oh, what will we do without these people? In fact, you're probably going to thrive when you make those decisions in your business to build a better business for you and stop worrying about other people, because that's another thing. You have the pressure of you're employing these people and they have a family and a life. And ultimately, what about your family? What about your life? What about your time? Time is money and it's precious. Do you want to spend more time managing staff so they have a job, so they can, support their family, or do you want a business that supports your family and your life, and you have a life that you enjoy? So anyway, that's what I'm leaving you with this week. Have a think about your business, where you are in life, where you want to be, and to take some courageous steps to do so. I will keep you updated in the new Aura Landscapes and the new TLC, because I will be doing a complete rebrand now. It's just me. Again, Charlotte's come up with a concept which I quite like. So that will be starting soon. I will also be at the landscape show at the end of the month. I'm going to be there on the 28th and 29th. I will be talking on stage, which is scary, but I feel like this is me stepping into the new me, the new era of TLC. And I will be there if anyone's thinking of going there. If you want to catch up over coffee, drop me an email or a DM on Instagram, info@thelandscaperscircle.co.uk, at the Landscapers Circle on Instagram. And yeah, come and check it out. Come down to the landscape show and listen to me chat. If you like the podcast, you'll probably enjoy it. So that is all for this week, and I'll be back next week with another episode of the podcast. And I would love to hear from you and hear what you're thinking of changing your business. And if you need any support with that, of course, I'm here. All right, thanks guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.